to the vlog. Right then, today is a rest day, which means I can have salmon or steak, and I've only got salmon in, so it's salmon today. The reason I can have salmon or steak is because salmon fillets and rump steak are almost identical when it comes down to their caloric intake and their macronutrient balance. I think that's everything. So what I've done, I'll put it on my on the screen now. Basically, it's my MyFitnessPal. Bear with me. So basically, it's my MyFitnessPal. I'll show you that the salmon fillets and the rump steak are almost, they are identical in terms of calories, in terms of macro split. So what I've done on my rest days is I've made it so I have my set meals, and then this meal I get to choose whether I fancy steak or whether I fancy salmon. On a weekend, if my non-training day falls on a weekend, then I will generally have this meal as my last meal. And it means that I can then have a nice meal at the end of the day with Shannon, so she could have salmon with me, or she doesn't like steak, but she'll have like a nice chicken dish with me. But all the other meals are the same. This one, even though it's the same macros, it's the only sort of variety I get to choose what I want that day. Training day, all the meals are the same. Non-training day, all the meals are the same apart from this one. But I'll put it up on the screen so you can see that they are the same. I have it with this asparagus and tender stem broccoli. You can get 2 for £3 from Tesco. 190 grams, I have all of that, and then that's the whole meal. So I'm going to run you through what I do. I'm sure I've done this on a YouTube video, but if there's any new people watching, then they won't have seen this. So basically, I've just got like a baking tray, I would call it. Foil on top, chuck the salmon on. This is the important part because the order is vital. So you've got lemon juice first, and what you've got to do is you've got to curl up the foil so it doesn't fly everywhere, it doesn't roll off the edges. So you've got lemon juice, cover it on lemon juice. Then you've got salt and pepper. I'm running out of salt. Pepper, nice amount. I would put mixed herbs on it now, but I've not got any. So mixed herbs would be next, and then it's garlic. This is like lazy chopped garlic. Just a little bit of that goes on top of each one, and then it's in the oven on 200 for about half an hour, and then it's done. So if you want to make some lovely salmon, then I'm your man. And that's it. Now I'm gonna just wait for it to cook, stand and watch for half an hour. Yeah. Okay, so while the salmon's in, I usually leave the flat because our extractor fan's so shit, and like the living area, kitchen area is the same bit, and I also need a stamp. But I did a Q&A thing on my Instagram this morning, and I've actually got some really good ones. So I said the good ones I'll do on YouTube, and the shit ones that are like, hey, let's connect, I'll do on Instagram. So here's a good one. tsf.fitness_ says, or asks, hi, how would you advise I work out how much carbs I should eat on training days / non-training days? So assuming that she knows, I'm sure it's a girl, assuming that she knows sort of what her caloric intake wants to be, dependent on her goal, and she's got that all worked out, then basically the difference between a training day carbohydrate intake and a non-training day carbohydrate intake is simply that you obviously don't have the demand for glycogen, and you don't have the demand for carbohydrates because you're not training on a non-training day. So I would look at how many calories you generally burn in your training sessions. So obviously that will be dependent on the day a lot of the time, but generally it might be between like 250 to 500 depending on the person, depending on the actual session. So let's say it's 400, just it's easy to work out. Let's say you burn 400 calories, then obviously you would take out 100 gram of carbs, because 100 gram of carbs is 400 calories. 100 gram of carbs, 1 gram of carb, sorry, is 4 calories. So if you generally burn 400 calories on a session, then take out 100 gram of carbs on a non-training day, because you don't need that extra energy for the session. So that's kind of how I'd work it. Other way you can do it is like go off a percentage base. So let's say 20% drop if your carbs are 500 on a training day. 20% drop would mean dropping to 400 on a non-training day. And now I'm crying because there's wind in my eyes. But yeah, I'm going to actually go on a walk soon, a proper walk, and do more questions then. Okay, so I'm out on my proper walk now. With it being a non-training day, my steps are 12,500. That's my step target on a non-training day. So generally I have to go on a bit of a walk to get those. Usually, well, I have 2 cardio sessions a week on my non-training days, but some weeks how my split is, I have 3 non-training days and we're only doing 2 sessions of cardio, so I get 1 non-training day some weeks where I don't have to do cardio. So that's today. But I still need to go on a walk, so that's what I'm doing now, down the canal in Loughborough. And I'm going to go through some of the other good questions. I'm actually on my walk to Aldi, but then I'm going to carry on doing a walk so I get my steps up. So Laura Motti asks, I hope you're well, it's a girl from uni. During a deload, do you keep your calories exactly the same or do you lower them? So generally I would lower them to maintenance during a deload. It depends on the phase you're in. Obviously if you're in a fat loss phase, then you would increase them to maintenance, but generally I'd get them back up to maintenance or back down to maintenance just for those few days that you're on the deload. Generally I'd recommend like a 3-4 day deload. I quite like it where you completely just have time off the gym. I know that during prep AJ has said that we're going to do, rather than complete days off, we're going to do lower volume days or even lower intensity days, but generally I quite like just 3-4 days off. But yeah, in terms of calories, I'll just take them to maintenance. Generally for a lot of my clients I will say do non-training day calories, because that will generally get them close-ish. If they're in a slight surplus, that'll get them close to maintenance. But if you're in like a prep or fat loss phase, then you'd look at bringing calories up just to relieve any diet stress and diet fatigue for those few days, because that's what the purpose of the deload is really. Okay, next question. I'll answer, like I say, the ones that aren't great on Instagram, so just find a good one. Do you think, well, this isn't a great one, but I'll answer it. Do you think gyms will be shut due to the coronavirus? I'm going to walk down this way. No, I doubt it. If they are, it will be literally because like there's been a public notice that the government have enforced that everyone has to abide by, which would then mean like supermarkets would be closed, schools would be closed, cinemas would be closed, everywhere would be closed. So unless that happens, then I can't really see gyms being closed because of the coronavirus. Just wash your hands, which if you weren't doing already, then you're an idiot. Okay, I'm at Aldi now, so I'll answer some more in a minute. Okay, so next question. How much weight do you think is safe to put on weekly in an off season? So, for me, I don't really like any more than 0.5% of body weight per week. So let's say you weigh 200 pounds and you put on £1 a week. I'd say that's kind of a maximum that I'd like to see. Especially sort of as you're going through the off season. Like generally if you're coming out of a show or a sort of severe fat loss phase to get lean for whatever it may be, holiday or photo shoot, then you'll gain quicker straight out of that, and that's fine. You know, generally you'll get into a healthy position again and get moving weights in the gym and feeling sort of healthier, fitter, stronger. But after that, for me, I don't like just weight for the sake of weight. So I'd say about 0.5%, if I'm honest. Which, like I say, you know, a 200-pound guy, that would be about £1 a week maximum, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you get into sort of the peak of your off season, if you've been sort of gaining for ages or in the gaining phase, however long you've been gaining for, that's a lot. You know, if you sort of gain £1
of good weight over the course of the month rather than a week, that's good. So like I say, maximum about 0.5% towards the end of it, a bit more earlier stages. Next one, we've got some good ones, you know. Well done, people. Sorry, I'm out of breath. James Marlowe. Oh, I didn't say the people, not sorry, I didn't. Joe Clarkson, the last ones. James Marlowe, some things you used to preach about training which you don't anymore. Some things you used to preach about training that I don't anymore. I would probably say I used to be overly obsessed with execution to the point where I'd just use no load. So I used to think it was all execution and don't worry about the weight you're using, just focus on the execution. But now I'm a lot more sort of knowledgeable and realistic that yes, execution is the primary goal, but you need to progress your load with that same execution. Whereas before I was just like happy to stay on the same loads and not actually progress and get stronger because I was just getting the connection and getting the pump. So I guess it almost relates more to that, you know, chasing the pump versus progressive overload style of training. I'd say that's probably the main one. I can't really think of anything else that I used to preach. But I'm sure if I look back at my Instagram posts and stuff, a lot of it will be cringy. So, but yeah, generally I'd say that, no, not chasing the pump. Rather than that, actually focusing on progressively overloading your training, not being too obsessed with execution to the point where you forget to use any actual load. Yeah, so you know, I'm happy for people to be obsessed with execution as long as it also comes with increasing load and trying to progress lifts as well. Okay, how much weight do you think? Oh, I've done that one. If you had all the money in the world, what would you buy? I would probably invest. I'd buy Man United at first because it's a shambles and I'd sort it. But other than that, I'd like to have my own gym. That'd be cool. But other than that, I'm not really into like materialistic things. I'm not like bothered about what car I drive. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a nice house for me and Shannon, but it's not as if we'd need a mansion. There's only two of us. It'd be nice to sort of do some nice things for my mum and dad to sort of show them how much I appreciate them bringing me up and everything. I'd love to be able to, like, that's a goal of mine anyway in the future, is to be able to buy them nice things and send them on holidays that I can pay for. Obviously I can't do that right at the minute, but that's something I'd love to do, and I'm sure I will be able to in the future. So I guess in terms of actual materialistic items, not a lot. More so investing in things, and I'd get on the property ladder and basically make more money out of the money if I had all the money in the world. But then I guess, can you make more money out of all the money in the world? Bit of a weird question. Whoever asked that question, Tom Canham Fitness. Sorry mate, bit of a shit answer for you. My arm is killing me now holding this camera up. What fluctuation, okay, so I'll do the last one now. What fluctuation in pounds every morning do you consider as maintaining weight? By Josh Pep 96. I'm gonna have to swap hands. So I would say probably a 5 pound like radius. So let's imagine you weigh in at 200 pounds one morning, the next 202.5, the next 200, the next 197.5, the next 200, you know what I mean? So you're in that radius. I would kind of class that as maintaining weight. Anything within like a 5 pound, which is pretty much like 2 kilo radius. But if you track daily, then you just simply take your weekly average and it will tell you, obviously with a lot more accurate data because you've got it across 7 days rather than just looking at every day itself. It'll tell you whether you're going in the right direction, whether it be fat loss or gaining. But yeah, obviously weight does fluctuate. I get a lot of clients sort of moaning and asking why weight's not going where they want, or why it's sort of maintaining the same, and it's like a lot of the time they're not adhering exactly as they should be. So that's number one. Are you adhering to the goal perfectly? Are you being honest with that? And then secondly, just be patient. Accept that the body is a complex mechanism. It's not simplistic and just, okay, it's going to go, the weight is linearly going to decrease because you're in a deficit now. It doesn't happen like that. There's so many variables that fluctuate. You've got water weight, you know, sodium levels, you've got, you know, things down to your sleep, your stress, you've got, you know, whatever your activity was that day, how much food volume you've got in your gut, did you go to the toilet as many times a day before, are you as hydrated? Loads of variables that are going to affect weight, so you can't be like, oh my god, it's not going in the right direction. So yeah, I'd sort of say if you're hovering around 5 pound radius, then that'd kind of be maintaining weight. But I think that's it for the questions. I'll answer any other ones on my Instagram, so sorry if I didn't answer yours on here. But now just walking home. I've done a good few thousand steps on this walk, and I've got evening clients to get ready for and finish up editing this video. I've also actually got my haircut and sunbed, pamper time. I'll probably video that. But yeah, hope the questions were helpful. I appreciate people asking, you know, whenever I put one up on Instagram, please do ask if you have any questions. There's no stupid questions, and they give me some good content to help people. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, then follow me. Okay, so I've had a delivery from Dolphin Fitness, which I wouldn't usually recommend people to use because a few times we've had issues with delivery, but they always have cheap deals. So I've got some new protein that I've not tried before, which is called Dimetize. So I got the Elite 100% whey in rich chocolate, and then I got ISO 100, so that's the isolate in gourmet chocolate. I don't know whether they'll be very different. I saw Jack Thorburn had this and said it was very good, and he generally has a good taste for protein, so if it's shit then it's Jack's fault. What I'm going to do, I've got my last meal to make, to my rice meal. I'm not going to show you me making it, but I'll make it and then I will film me trying the proteins and see how they are, give a bit of a review. That's it. So I've made it as like I make it in a mug as a sludge and then mix it all up and pour it on top. I've tried it on its own and it's actually quite nice. Tastes like Freddo chocolate, but it's got a bit of a sickly aftertaste. What? It does. Can we have some more?
No.
It's nice. So I have the isolate on the training days because my fats are lower, but I have the hydro whey or whatever it was called, elite whey, which is a concentrate. It's not an isolate. I have that on non-training days because my fats are higher. But they both smell very similar, so I assume they taste similar. But this is nice. I'd recommend it. I think it was like, for both those tubs, it was like 80 something quid on Dolphin. So yeah, I'd probably recommend it, but I haven't mixed it all in yet. So I will probably do more of a review in another video or on Instagram at some point. But I'm not gonna eat, leave this and just let you watch me eat. So I'll finish the video now. So if you liked it, then please like it. If you are new or if you haven't subscribed already, then please subscribe. If you like the new format, kind of vlog style, then let me know. And if there's anything that you'd want to see in any of the videos, then just drop a comment below. But I appreciate everyone watching, and I will see you in the next video.